for having me.
There you go.
This is going to be awkward passing back and forth, but we'll make it work. Cool guys, we'll make it work. Simon, do you have any advice for the first timers out there? Any advice on what they can expect tomorrow, and yeah, just any helpful tips and tricks?
Well, first of all, welcome to triathlon. It's great to see a group stand up there, and it's a wonderful sport. It's a lifestyle sport, and it's something to stay with you for a long time. In terms of tips for your first triathlon, it's a cliche, but just enjoy it. Being out there and embarking on a journey of triathlon is something you viewed as an 8-year-old. You're not cheating with your dad here, I mean, that's okay, but having done triathlon for a long time and really loved our sport and met so many great people, you're embarking on something that embodies more about the lifestyle of staying fit and healthy. And I would encourage you to think of this from a long-term perspective, not just tomorrow, or not just this season, and not just the next couple seasons, but I really encourage people to be coached by your 7-year-old self. So think well ahead to what it is in your journey of triathlon that you want to accomplish from a health and wellness perspective first. And there's so much to learn in triathlon, particularly about nutrition and keeping your body healthy. And I would really encourage you to keep that perspective, is not to get into it too quickly, not to jump right out to what we see typically is a lot of people will do a first triathlon and then say, okay, now Ironman's next. And don't do that. Come into triathlon with the perspective of looking at it from the long term and staying fit and healthy for your whole life. It's something you can share with your family members. It's a wonderful family sport. It is a festival. That's why I got into it. I did the Charlotte Lake Triathlon when I was 11 years old, and I loved it because it was a family atmosphere. We went to the Charlotte Lake. We all enjoyed the barbecue afterwards, and I thought, well, this is a great excuse to be with friends and family every weekend that I'm in. So I really encourage you to look at it from that perspective. Eventually you'll get into the results side of triathlon, and it's the fun part of it. But I would say that the baseline of triathlon is participation. It's about being out here together. It's about the accomplishment of setting a goal and accomplishing it, and then looking at it from, like I said, that long-term perspective of how can I address my health over the long term and stay healthy so that when I'm 70 years old, I can still be doing this.
Awesome, great advice. Thanks, Simon. You did mention your first race there as an 11-year-old, and I'd love to hear a bit more of your journey of how you went from an 11-year-old first-timer all the way through to an Olympic champion. Maybe give us a bit of a taste of that journey that you went throughout triathlon.
I grew up in Kingston, Ontario, and like I said, we went up to Charlotte Lake a couple times. It was a great excuse to get fit for the soccer season and hockey season. I just participated in a lot of sports. And thankfully, my parents, as I started to show some aptitude for triathlon, they didn't push me into more triathlon. They just encouraged me to do what I loved. And my parents, when I came back from races, always asked about the effort that was put in. My sister and I were encouraged based on what effort we put into it, not what results came of it. My parents understood that if we stuck with effort, if we put in our heart and soul into something, that the results would follow. I did a couple triathlons when I was 11. I did a lot more triathlons when I was 16 years old, and I actually moved to Australia to my dad's old school in Sydney. And I went there under the guise that I was going there for school, but by that time I was fully immersed in the sport of triathlon, just loving it and wanting to go to the Olympic Games. And at 16 years old, I showed up at the boarding house there and really didn't know how to swim. Apparently the Australians can swim well, they're all right? Yeah. They're pretty good at that, you're there, right? Yeah. That beach culture certainly helps. There's a big triathlon series there, and I started working my way towards participating in the World Cup level and traveling with the national team. And when I was 24 years old, I qualified for the Olympic Games in Sydney. And 4 Olympics later, I was tired and decided to hit a speed bump and retire myself. Take a rest. And yeah, I mean, like I said, triathlon's just a wonderful sport. You meet great people, and as you start to realize there's so many great races around the world that you can do. You can get off to Alcatraz and swim in from Alcatraz Island. You can go off to Europe and experience the great European culture of triathlon. You can go down to Australia. And then just here in Canada, we have absolutely incredible races throughout the country. If you get out to the East Coast and out to St. Andrews or Corner Brook, there are great races out there. And then on the West Coast, we have some wonderful races. So it's a sport for people, it's a sport for participation, it's a sport for learning, like I said before, about yourself. And I was very thankful for having that journey, but I was very thankful for doing it on my own terms. My parents let me slowly work my way into triathlon, let me set my own goals, and I kept an athleticism from soccer and hockey that meant that when I was on the bike, I had the skills I needed. When I was on the run, I understood how the tactics of it, because I came from a pickup sport background, and I think that really helped my versatility as an athlete. So I'd encourage you that even as you embark on triathlon, swimming, biking, and running are wonderful, but if you can keep the versatility to your training and keep an eye on all the different sports, you'll really see this over the long term. You see improvement, you'll see a lot of joy from it, and it actually really helps you with your triathlon renewal.
Thanks for sharing that, Simon. I actually love your story, and when you talk about where you came from and how you grew up through triathlon and the passion and the dedication that you put into the sport. So thank you for sharing that with us. And, there's a group here this morning that I'd like to acknowledge who are the next generation of triathlon here in Ontario, and obviously they look up to you, Simon, as a Canadian champion and a world champion and also an Olympic champion. So I'd like to acknowledge our junior athletes from the Triathlon Ontario Provincial Development Team. And I know some of them are here this morning, and I'd love them to stand up so we can give you some acknowledgement. Elise Bolger, Dylan Boost, Liam Donnelly, Erica Rankin, Alison Gibb, Danae Morris, and Aaron DeJong. Please stand up if you're here. This is the future of triathlon in Ontario, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you for sharing your own report with them. Good luck tomorrow, guys and girls. Simon, you spoke about an unrelenting approach to triathlon previously, and Dave, you're a big advocate of a balanced and sustainable approach to triathlon. I'd love to hear some more about what you're up to, and can you tell us what balance and consistency mean to you as an athlete, and how the people here in the gold member event can approach balance and consistency in their training?
Thanks, Travis. I think, first of all, how many people here today are over 35? Just show of hands. So you can see in triathlon right now that the age group is getting a little higher. We're starting to see more people coming into our sport in their late 30s, early 40s, and even into their 50s. And I think one of the really key things, because I didn't start when I was 11, I started at 44, and I did jump into the half Ironman just right after that, because I was oblivious to what I was doing. I really had no clue, and that was something that I found out on the Huntsville race course. That it is tough, it's a challenge, but sustainability is key. And I think, as an older athlete, we tend to sometimes think that we're trying to recapture our youth. And if we go at it too hard, there's an opportunity for you to get burnt out. You lose that life balance of the people around you. I remember being so focused on crossing that Ironman finish line that everything around me was starting to suffer. Business, relationships, everything, because you were so focused. So one of the things you can learn from this experience is sustainability and balance. And when you start to have that sustainability, that idea that I'm going to continue to exercise every day, because I'm not trying to do this to necessarily lose 10 pounds, but like Simon said, it's a lifestyle. It's something that I'm investing in myself every day. Quite often I talk to the executives that I coach and I say, this is about winning the day. Forget about a week from now, forget about a year from now. I know everybody likes to set big goals. Set a goal to win today and just build on that every day. That will build consistency and sustainability. But balance is about making sure that you're remembering the people around you and you're not going too hot and heavy in the triathlon that you forget about everything else. It's a great lifestyle sport. I've been a part of this family of triathletes now for the past 6 years. I became a triathlete at 44. And it's been a blast, and I continue to train every day, even though I'm not training for a race. While we were organizing last night, while I went home, the organizing crew sat down and had a couple of drinks, and I went for a run because I didn't get my run in today. It's all part of, being consistent every day. So my perspective is that I need to invest in myself every day. And I would encourage adults who are over 40 not to really burn yourself out, but to think about how can I do this consistently, and really think about the non-impact sports, because those will aid you in being a quicker runner on the race course when you're out running if you do more than non-impact stuff.
Yeah, that's great, Dave. I saw a lot of the head nodding in the crowd, so it's obviously resonating with a lot of people in the audience, so thank you for sharing that. Simon, I'd love to take a step further and talk about what you learned in triathlon that has transferred into your life after sport, or in your business life, or things that you can kind of share with the audience here who maybe ought to take some lessons they've learned through their training and their approach to an event and their participation in the sport that they can transfer into their life outside of sport.
I'd say the number one thing is a daily diagnostic routine. It's with the idea of self-regulation. So it's finding a routine, and particularly in the morning. It usually starts, and it starts with not just waking up and checking your phone. It starts with calibrating your day into specific intentions of your day. So throughout my career, we were at the pool every morning. We went through a very specific routine of how to prepare to get in the water. And I really noticed as I came out of my career and I started enjoying not doing that, I lost that calibration in my day. I lost the sense, kind of what we would call it a guidance to my day. I think that's a really important thing for everybody is to get up and have a routine, whether it's yoga, is it a meditation, is it simply a walk around the block. If your day is not starting with immediate inputs from your email, from your Facebook account, from friends and family, it's taking a moment to yourself and calibrating how you feel that day. And as you get a sense of that routine every day, you'll get a sense of how your body's doing, and you'll be the first to be able to diagnose what is going on with your own health and wellness. And I would say that as I went through my career, as I refined that, and I got better and better sense of how I was feeling and was able to self-coach and self-regulate, it's passed on to me that as I come in now into my 40s, I can really have a sense of, okay, well, where's my health at? Where are my energy levels at? And it's very predictable. I can start to see all the trends in not only in my daily health, but also my fitness. I can really start to tell, okay, wait a minute, I've worked out a lot recently, and my heart, I can start to feel a little bit of my heart being a little bit too, what's called animated, and that daily routine can help me. And I see it, my favorite thing now, my one competitive outlet per week is playing indoor soccer. And if I go through my daily diagnostic routine in the morning, if I spend some time by myself, if I calibrate and do a little bit of meditation, or even just a more gentle start to the day, that I can really see that throughout the day, and as I get to soccer, and the way in which I perform at soccer, it's very much, it follows in line with that. And if I don't do that, if I rush through my day, and if I'm straight into my email, and I'm straight into inputs, then by the end of the day, I'm quite burnt out and tired and not able to perform at any kind of high level. And so I would really say that as you come through triathlon, you can get a sense of just, if you're journaling is so important. I started that as a young kid. I did a lot of journaling, and I'm very thankful for that. I can read back and look back at the goals I set and the things that were working and the things that weren't working. And now to this day, if I sit down and I make the time to journal in the morning, journal at night, I can keep calibrating how I'm performing, not only from a physical wellness perspective, but from a mental well-being. And I think that's critically important.
Yeah, that's really good. Thank you. Dave, you talked about winning the day, and I think it's really relevant to what Simon was saying about taking each day as it comes and calibrating daily diagnostics and really just taking care of that one day at a time and not looking too far into the future. And you talked about winning the day, and obviously Simon's been through big one-days and one-day events and things like that, but not everybody's going to have that opportunity. So I'd love to hear more, Dave, from you about how you advise your corporate clients and people you work with to win the day. And what do you mean by that?
Well, again, Simon mentioned something which is journaling, which I fully believe in wholeheartedly. I did the same thing when I first started my journey of wellness when I turned 40. And, I think a lot of people who are 40 and over, if they're trying to recreate themselves, reinvent themselves as a heart healthier person as they grow older, looking for their best possible quality of life, it really is important to do a little bit of journaling in the beginning, because that's part of developing good habits and making sure that every day you're feeling good about yourself. You want to feel successful, you want to feel good. I often advise my clients, especially if they're trying to lose weight, to throw their scale away. If you do the right things, if you eat the right foods, if you exercise every day, if you do it with purpose and intent, at the end of the week, those weeks will add up, those days will add up, and you have to have that self-motivation, that mental toughness that says, hey, I'm a winner today, I feel really good. If you went and told your friends, how many hands again for the newbies are new triathletes? So when you first decided to become a triathlete, you told all your friends, did they say, awesome, you're going to be great, or did they kind of go, when you're done with that, come back over to the dark side, we've got some pizza and wings over here. I mean, that's often what we get. If we say to somebody, it's out of character for us to jump onto this huge monumental challenge. Quite often the people around us, our support group, will give you this thing called guarded support. And that is, we love you, but when you fail, come on back over here, we love you even more. my family gave me that guarded support. They didn't want to see me fail. They didn't want to feel that pain that I was going to go through. So they said, we support you, but we don't really believe you're going to get there because you've never done that sort of thing. It's not a character. So when I talk to people about winning today, I often say, keep your big goals, sort of keep them in here. And tell people, you know what, I'm going to go for a 5K run today, or I'm going to go for a 10K bike today, or I'm going to go for a 1K swim today. And people will go, hey, you know what, I've seen you walk before. Maybe I believe you can go for a walk at lunch. That sounds reasonable. You know, the more you start doing things that other people will go, hey, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll do that with you. If you said, I'm going to go run a marathon next month, and when I go out and represent Triathlon Ontario, they send me off to marathons. You won't believe the number of people I talk to who say, yeah, I signed up for a marathon a couple of months ago, and it should be fun. And I think to myself, you're supposed to be runners. Don't you do this every day? Like I thought runners ran every day. My perspective has changed as an adult. It's gone from trying to lose weight to investing in myself. And that's what I try to coach people about winning the day. It's about having a great outlook about yourself. Know that you've got a plan that you're following. I know I talked to Craig Alexander a few times, and we've shared some ideas of training with purpose. He often says, a workout without purpose has no purpose. The great thing about triathlon is if you start looking at it, and as Simon is, I'm self-coached as well, and when you start looking at most bones of a training system look the same, you know, if you get into that routine of swim, bike, run, you know, every day, you know what your week looks like. You don't have to be racing in a big race to continue on with that healthy lifestyle. You know, those walks turn into runs, those cycling journeys turn into great cross-training activities that you can do to support the stuff like running. Just, you know, I think the common theme is that if you have a plan and you follow that plan, you will feel good about yourself every day. And that is so important. Other people around you will start to feel good about you and what you're doing. And then, once you've maybe gone for a 10K run or a marathon or sort of run a half marathon, if you announce, hey, I might want to do a triathlon, people will go, well, I believe you can do that. I've seen you do stuff like that before. That's a good idea. Maybe I'll join you. So, you know, think about the friends that you have that you think this triathlon community might be something you might enjoy, rather than drag them out and say, hey, come do this, sign up with me. Let's go for a walk. Let's go for a bike ride. You know, let's win together today. Let's support each other. And you just never know where that might be.
It's awesome. You guys are super motivating. I snoozed my alarm this morning. I was supposed to go for a run, so I'm going to call this quits now. Just go out and run. You guys, yeah, super. It's awesome. You guys are awesome. Simon, you've been involved in the TTF from the start. You were here first year. I know that Jeff won't mind me saying this, it was kind of a vision of his about how do we actually get there, how do we actually make it happen. I'd love to, and you did mention some other races that you've been involved in, particularly here in Canada. I'd love to hear from you how you feel the TTF fits into the landscape of triathlon in Canada and how important it is to have an event like this in a big city like Toronto.
For sure. I want to go one step back to what you were saying. I will say to the introverts out there that it's okay too. That time alone is something that I think you can really, you know, for myself, I look back on triathlon and why I really got into it. As much as I say that I love the festival and I love the experience of competing, I will say that just being outside and being alone, if you're in that vein, if you like this, having that moment to yourself, that an endurance sport like this is a great opportunity to do that. And we've got into this world of phones, and all this technology, and a lot of it is just input. And I would say one thing I would encourage you to do is if you can find that time where you just say, you know, I'm getting out for a run. Crowley's saying a workout without purpose has no purpose, but that's towards your athletic goals. But for your own mental well-being, and for the people that just like a little bit of time alone, a workout with no purpose, maybe just the purpose is to just get out and be alone and get clear your headspace. If you think back, if it's not many years ago that we did not have all these inputs, that we did not have phones constantly buzzing at us, that we did not have phones, and people always, this idea of constant contact. And I found as my career progressed and more technology came in and we were encouraged to use all the sports science support, for a while there I really enjoyed it, and after a while I said, wait a minute, I just really liked being outside and exploring. And I would say that if you can find that in yourself, you find that peace and quiet, that sense of exploration, that's really important. And just getting outside and time to reflect and time to be alone and you know, to calibrate your own state of being, I'd say is really, very, very important. Just to not get, there's a fun part to this technology, but there's a cost to it. And the cost is that constant contact, that constant input it takes you in many, many different directions and adds inputs to your life that aren't always positive. particularly if you're doing that late at night and you're trying to fall asleep in front of your phone. It's not a good idea. Back to the Toronto Triathlon. Yeah, I mean, honestly, when Jeff came up with this vision and said that he's going to put a triathlon down here, there's a lot of people that said that's not going to happen. It's being tried and it's not going to stay, and now we're in our 5th year. I wanted to support that vision because Canada, Triathlon Canada needs this race. It's a great race, and by being here and participating in this and choosing this race, you're really helping bring a race to our biggest city, to the center of the universe, Toronto. And I think if we can get more people out here, more people seeing this lifestyle of being out and not just competing, but being out together and working towards common goal, you'll see something really special. We want to get people from around the triathlon world coming to Toronto and seeing what a wonderful, not only triathlon festival this is, but what a beautiful city we live in, and what a beautiful place this is to call home. It's pretty special. I think sometimes we take it for granted what we have here, and we compare it to all the other different venues we might race at. But to have a race in downtown, to be able to take over a bit of the city with swim, bike, and run, it's something special. It's great for our sport, and I would encourage you to keep encouraging your friends to come down and try this race. Jeff and his crew have done an incredible job of being through. It has not been an easy journey, as Jeff will tell you. It's to put on a race on this scale and this kind of location is very, very difficult. So a huge acknowledgement to Jeff and his crew to keep moving forward with this race. It's an important race on calendar for Canada.
Agreed, and I think part of that is you guys obviously supporting the event like this, and having been personally involved for the last 5 years, seeing where it's come from over the last 5 years, and also responding to some of the feedback that you guys as athletes have provided. And we feel like you're a part of the journey with us as well as we develop this event. And we wanted to stick around for as long as we can and forever if possible. So please provide that feedback. You guys are close to us as gold members, and we really encourage you to support what we're doing. I see the people who are gold members. I'm going to say it 10 times. I see you guys as part of the family, so please feel free to share your feedback and your advice or your thoughts on how we can improve and how we can keep building this event as we go forward. One group of people that I really do want to acknowledge as advocates and enthusiasts and supporters of what we're up to at the TTF is our TTF Ambassador Program, led by the wonderful Heather Gardner. We have some of the guys here today. We'll give them all a round of applause in a moment. We'll get them all to stand up. So Heather, can you please stand up? So you would have seen Heather sharing a lot of the information we provide here at the Toronto Triathlon. We also have Alan McCluskey, Alyssa Chung, Amber Lynn Renton, Jennifer Pinaski, Linda Nguyen, Melissa Greer, Pecha Tavalosa, and Ryan Duffield. Please, big round of applause for these guys. They will be leading the shakeout run this morning with Simon, so please make sure you see those guys. And if you have any questions for them around about the race or themselves or anything, please make sure you find those guys on the shakeout run as we head out in a couple of moments here. Simon, one last question for you. I'd love to hear about if there's anything that you would have done differently in your triathlon career. I think storied career, amazing results. Is there anything you would have done differently that may help everyone here, and particularly the juniors as they go through their journey in triathlon?
Yeah, to me, I would have done yoga throughout my career. I looked at yoga as something that just akin to just stretching, and it's so far from that. And your mat, I like the expression from yoga, your mat will meet you where you're at. If I had kept, I did do yoga when I was quite young. I had the opportunity to go to the Paula Center inside of Boston, Massachusetts, as a young kid, just by coincidence. A friend lived down there, and go in and learn the basics of sun salutation, and did that a little bit through my career, but I wish I'd done a lot more of that. I looked at it from a short-term performance perspective. I was trying to find out, well, will yoga make me faster? But what I really needed to do, and what I wish I had done, was that daily, like I said, a daily diagnostic routine that started with the same routine every day. And if I had done that throughout my career, I think I would have avoided some of the pitfalls, mostly the mental pitfalls of the. And it's there's a lot of pressure involved at the high, in any level of sport, there's pressure involved. At the level I was competing at, there was an enormous amount of pressure. And I think that daily diagnostic routine is something with yoga where you were really isolated to your mat, to your own space. It was very helpful for both in the morning and at night. Just keeping that mental activity down, and that's something that what often comes in with the negative self-talk and often the inability to go. I'm sure you can all relate to this, the inability to sleep. If I had done yoga through my own career, I think I would have avoided a couple of pitfalls that I found in the mental side of it, in terms of just the human interaction side of it would have been a little bit less up and down as it was.
Great advice, thanks for sharing that. I'm going to open it up quickly to the floor. We have time probably for 2 questions. If anyone's got a burning question they would like to ask of Simon or Dave or myself, please raise your hand and we'll get a microphone out to you as quickly as possible. Anyone? Okay, I've got one question here of the gentleman in the white and salmon striped shirt. Do I have another question? Anyone else who's got a burning question? Okay, you're the second one there, so we'll start with this gentleman here.
We often hear about professional athletes and either getting fat or going broke after they retire from competitive sports. And so we can see that one of those things happen. The question for you was just around how have you kind of gone from competing at a very high level and training being such a huge part of your life to finding that balance in terms of fitness and everything else that you want to do and not getting burnt out with it? And what else have you sort of filled that void with?
Thank you, sir. Simon, I'll come to you. You actually look really good from this angle.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, that's been a journey in itself. When I first retired, I was still trying to compete at stuff and went to a lot of paddleboarding races with the eye of competing, and really didn't. I wasn't really thinking about what was motivating me, and that's been a challenge for sure. I took the opportunity when I retired to stop doing a lot of the routines that I had put in place throughout my career, and thinking, not realizing the cost I would pay for that. So when you go through 20 plus years of waking up at basically the same time every day and going to the pool or getting out for a run, and then just suddenly kind of take that away, you don't not only pay a price physically, but you particularly pay a price mentally for that. It really threw off the what do you want to call it, the routine of my day. Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. I would say that the big reflection I've had is that when you're an athlete, you have this excuse to have all this time alone. So you have all this excuse. I had 30 hours a week that I didn't have to answer the phone. I didn't have to look at my email. I didn't have to talk to anybody if I didn't want to. I could just say, well, I'm just going training. And now 28 of those hours were taken back, and so I get very few hours a week alone. And I would say that